if you think about it and you make those intentional routines, you're gonna probably solve most of your problems. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about routines, and we're gonna start the episode with understanding routines first, because I think we need to clarify what this is before we can ever talk about how we can benefit from routines, right? Then I'm gonna walk you through 5 ways how self-designed routines can make you happier and more successful in your life. Full disclaimer before we continue, I'm not saying that you should design this perfect life or try to be this robot who always does the right thing at the right moment and has this schedule for his entire life all the time. I'm just saying that if you do want something and there are a few things that you truly desire to have in your life, and at the very least you just want to become better at something or have more frequently something in your life, then it is worth it spending a little bit more time and effort on designing some kind of patterns that do help and support you getting what you want. That's what this is all about. All right, understanding routines. I'm gonna put it as simply as routines are something that you are good at. Whatever you repeat more frequently, it becomes not just easier in terms of motor skills, but also in your brain, because it's familiar, which is comfortable for your brain, but also it's just, you don't have to think about it, you just execute it and it comes natural, it's stress-free, and whether it's good or not doesn't matter, but it's just easy for you to do. So Aristotle once said, we are what we do. And I think this is a great way to basically consider what you would like to be and then build patterns of behaviors that align with what you'd like to identify yourself with. And it's not gonna ever be perfect, of course, but if you truly care about playing an instrument, reading more books, or passing exams, or going on time to work, whatever you actually care about, the way to achieve it and to be better at it is to make it easy and familiar on your brain. So this is what routines are about. And if we're talking about understanding routines, then we gotta mention 2 main misconceptions about routines. The first one is that people oftentimes think they don't have routines. So they kind of see their life as fully chaotic, and one of the reasons they're not successful, for example, or happy is because they have a mess of a life and there are no routines. Well, you do have routines. No matter what you are doing, there are certain patterns in your behavior. There's something that you're doing on most days. Whether it's good or not, again, doesn't matter, but it is there. So it's not about that you don't have routines, it's about that you have routines that you haven't decided, that you haven't intentionally planned for yourself. And this is actually one way how we have our day full of activities. We always feel like we don't have enough time, but at the same time we're not really achieving the things we want to achieve, or we don't really have the things we want to have on a daily basis, because we have a bunch of routines that we haven't designed ourselves. So actually the main point here is if you think about it and you make those intentional routines, you're gonna probably solve most of your problems. And then the second big misunderstanding about routines is that they are the opposite of creativity. People sometimes are kind of scared to even have routines, because let's say they're more artistic and they think that if they have routines they're gonna kill their creativity and they're gonna kill the inspiration, so they actually thrive on chaos. But this is a myth, because first of all, as I said, you do have routines, and second of all, which we're gonna discuss later in this episode, routines make space, mental and physical, and just energy space for you to be more creative. So we're gonna begin with how self-designed routines decrease your stress. Here we're talking about daily chores, and no matter what your daily chores look like, it could be just going to work, it could also be going to work and having kids, going to work, having kids and a dog, having somebody to take care of, like an elderly or a sick partner, or whatever that you actually have to do on a daily basis, and it's not exactly pleasant, it's a chore. Like, I love our dog, but I don't always feel like walking her outside, so there are days when this is a chore. So the basic idea here is when you wake up, the less decisions you have to make on a daily basis, the more mental space you have to think about or to pay attention to other things. And when something stressful happens, how much energy we have to deal with it determines whether we actually really see that event as stressful or we see it as a challenge. I'm not gonna go deep into this right now, but the main point here is that when a new situation happens in your life and you don't feel prepared to handle that new situation, you feel stressed out. So how do you feel prepared to handle new surprising situations in your life when a lot of the daily chores are already set in some automatic mode that you don't have to think about, that you don't have to consider every single morning? If your daily chores are not set into routines, every single morning you wake up, you have to decide at what time to walk the dog, or at what time to go to the gym, or at what time to do the laundry, or at what time to cook. All those decisions are a lot. They do take energy, they do take time. So when a new situation happens, and on top of your chores that are inevitable every single day, you have to also think about the new thing and how to solve it and how to handle it, then you get overwhelmed. It's too much. So it's really not about you having a very busy life. It's about you not really taking care of those daily reoccurring events. And this is why the new event puts so much pressure on you and just exhausts you so much. 2. Routines linked to your sleep can improve the quality of your sleep. And this is essential for having energy to deal with your life. And this one is so obvious that I think at this point everybody should know it, and we probably do know it, but we just don't follow on it. We just don't make the effort, because there is almost this pride in bragging how little sleep we got. I don't know where it's coming from, but whatever it's coming from, it's not from a healthy place. It's not getting us to any healthy place either. So I'm gonna remind you one more time. Sleep routines are one of the most essential routines out there. You literally need energy to do whatever you want to do. It's not just tedious work. It's not just going to work or like just running chores, errands, whatever. It's about you enjoying the day and the time you have, because time is precious and you're not gonna ever have it back. So do you want to feel exhausted and trying to all the time just pass through another hour, survive another hour, or you actually want to be vibrant and energetic and present in that moment that you chose to have? So this is why, basically, this is the reason, this is the main motivation why you should, at least if it's only one routine, pay attention to your sleep routine. Number 3 is about focus, and I think most people have heard about this, but I'm just gonna remind you of the 2 main ways how having a routine helps you with your focus. The first thing is about location, like going to study or to work at the same place every single time actually helps you focus, because location has memory. Meaning, when you go somewhere, let's say the library, because you always study at the library, or your desk that you always work, your brain does not have to pay attention to the environment because it's familiar. And if the environment is familiar, then all the attention goes into what you have to do. And sometimes it can feel a bit boring, mostly because we're so used to constant distractions. So we are used to something happening all the time and some new stimuli to be hitting our brain all the time. We're used to that and we think we need it. But actually, for focus, the more boring and the more stable and familiar an environment is, the better for our focus. And then the second thing about focus is that you usually already know what works for you, because at some point in your life you definitely have been focused for some period of time, but you didn't pay attention to it. And oftentimes we listen to other people and their routines about work and we try to copy paste them. Like, for example, again with the studying, you might be benefiting from going to the library and you go there and you pass your exams, right? There is result from what you do. But let's say your friends start doing this group studying, right? And it's trendy and it's cool and you want to be part of the group and you decide to do it. And then everything goes down because, one, your brain needs time to learn this new routine. Like, it's a change, and instead of being focused, your brain will be busy adapting to the environment. So this is the first basically obstacle that you create for yourself. And the second is that you may not be benefiting from this. It's cool, it's fun, your friends do it, but this is a very good time to mention a great saying I know is, don't fix something that isn't broken. If you already know how your brain works and what works for you to get focused, just stay with the same. We don't need variety in everything we do. Yes, we like to spice things up every now and then. You may every now and then change that library, for example, that works for you, but on a daily basis, for the most part, for 80% of the time, do what works for you. Do yourself a favor. Number 4 is my favorite one, because this is again that misconception about routines and creativity. If you are to take only one message from this entire video, this should be that routines actually create mental space for you to have more creativity. If you look at research from the past, like even 10 years ago, you see a lot of articles saying that creativity and routines are two different things, and basically you need to have different environments or like different stimuli to come up with new ideas. But that was in the past. The misconception that routines make your brain lazy could be true only if your life is literally a copy paste one day after another. Everything is just repetition. So the thing with routines and creativity is that creativity benefits of space and energy to think about new things, obviously, but also go and experience something new, right? So you need this new information, new input that you can work with and come up with even newer ideas. The whole thing with routines is creating that space and that time for you, because as we already said, first of all, getting your daily chores under control, getting your sleep under control, getting your focus and let's say your daily job under control, all those things, if they are already happening and organized, then what is left is time. And what is left is energy, because you're not so stressed out. And if you do have time and energy, it's natural that you're gonna go and try new things, and you're gonna read new things, and you're gonna experience new things, which will spark your creativity. But also another thing is that when you basically just do the same day, right? The same, absolutely same day, you're not going outside of your comfort zone at all. If you are having a lot of routines, eventually you're gonna get bored. And boredom actually sparks imagination. This is why we say, let the child get bored. This is how they increase their imagination, their creativity, their problem-solving skills even. Boredom is not a dangerous word. It's not like something that you have to run away. I know in 2022, we are just used to getting on our phones the second we feel a little bit bored, or the second we have a little bit of time to stay away with our own thoughts. God forbid we actually think and reflect and realize what's going on. But if you do want to create a life that you like, then you have to stay a bit with your thoughts. You have to reflect a bit. You have to understand yourself and what you want. And then the next step is act on it, like act on what you want. So this entire episode is not really so much about giving you a lot of new information. It's reminding you of things that you already know, and reminding you that if you do want to turn your life around or just change one little thing that's gonna make you happier, it is completely possible. You are one routine away from having something in your life that you want to have. I either convince you to try it out or not, which is completely up to you. I'm just gonna conclude with the 5th way how self-designed routines can benefit you. And you can actually think about this yourself. If you have a better sleep routine, and you have less stress, and you have more time to be creative and to experience things that you want to experience in your life, and you're more focused during your work, then what is gonna follow after all this? Your general health is going to improve, because this is just the most natural effect of all those little steps that you've already taken. And there's something that I read some time ago, I don't know who said it, but it's so inspiring and I'll share it with you. Better health is a result of just a little planning. And yeah, this is so true, because if you have self-designed routines, on one hand you have less stress, so you can be more productive and you can have more time to accomplish more things, so essentially you become more successful. But on the other hand, because you free up time, you can actually enjoy your hobbies, you can actually spend time with your loved ones, so you are happier as well. It's like a win-win situation that it can only benefit you. And at first it takes some effort and it takes some time to build the routines, of course. But think about this, every single morning when you get up and you have to go to work and you don't feel like going to work, it does take time and it does take effort to get there, right? It does take non-existing motivation sometimes, like basically force yourself sometimes to go do it because you have to do it to get salary, for example, and pay your bills. So why not use the same have to do it for your own benefit? You have to build certain routines so that you can benefit from this later on and you can be happier. Not your boss, not your mom, not your partner, you. Thank you for listening, and I'm gonna see you next time.